Welcome to this 15 minutes yoga practice to help release tension and stiffness within the body. Starting by grabbing a block and coming down into a child's pose variation, resting our head onto the block and leaving our arms at 90 degrees either side. Taking some deep breaths here and just relaxing our body, relaxing our mind, ready for our practice ahead. Gently lifting back up now, we're just going to grab the other block and place them both sides of our mat. Coming into tabletop, we are then going to reach our left leg in between our hands. Just repositioning the blocks to where it's most comfortable for you. Just resting our fingertips onto the blocks and stretching up, looking up to the sky, giving our back and psoas a nice stretch. Just checking that your knee does not come over your toes. Coming onto the back toes, slowly now straightening the front leg, coming into our half split. Only fully extending your leg if this is within your practice. Or you can take the variation I am taking and just leaving the knee bent. Releasing the leg and coming back into tabletop. Bringing the right leg in between your hands now. Into our lower lunge. And slowly lowering back into our half split. Either straightening the leg if this is within your practice, or leaving your knee bent. Taking these moments within poses to just focus on our breath and to clear our mind. Into tabletop pose again now, and just bringing our blocks further up our mat, coming into a variation of our puppy. Keeping our hands onto our blocks and just lowering our chest and our head towards the mat. Making sure to keep our legs in a 90 degrees angle. Taking deep breaths in this deep stretch. Moving the blocks off the mat now, we're just going to lower down onto our stomach. Placing our arms at 90 degrees in front of us into our Sphinx pose. Using your blocks again if needed, or coming into your full puppy pose. Arms stretched out in front of you, head on the mat, nice stretch for the back. Just enjoying this moment and breathing within the areas of tension. Grabbing your blocks again now and just come into standing in between your blocks. Keeping your hands on the blocks and your knees bent if needed, or standing the blocks up as a variation. Rolling through the spine now, reaching our arms up to the sky with an inhale, then exhale, bringing our hands to our chest. Twisting the block 90 degrees, we're just going to bring our right foot to place on top of the block. Keeping our hands at our chest in a prayer position, coming into our variation of our tree pose. Or if you want to challenge yourself, bring your hands into prayer position above your head. Just finding your drishti, which is a point of focus to help you keep your balance. But if you fall out, it is completely fine. Just come straight back into the pose. Lowering your hands back to your chest now and slowly bringing your knee into the chest, creating some rolls with your ankles to the left and to the right. And lower your foot back to the mat, bringing your blocks just a few inches in front, extending that left leg back into our warrior three. Slowly now lifting up the left arm, coming into our half moon, keeping the right foot flexed and either keeping our gaze down to the mat or lifting our gaze up towards the sky. Placing the left hand back on the mat, realigning the hips and slowly lowering that back foot, coming into our high lunge. 3 different variations, keeping your hands on the blocks, bringing them to your thigh or lifting them right up towards the sky. Just staying in your chosen variation for a few breaths. Whichever variation you are in, lowering your hands back down to the blocks and placing them now flat onto the mat, placing our hands on top and slowly bringing our right leg back, coming into our plank pose. Keeping the core engaged, slowly lowering down onto our stomach and just coming back into that Sphinx pose. Pushing ourselves once again into our puppy pose. Bring our blocks back in, placing our hands onto them and just lifting up into an easy downward facing dog, leaving our knees bent and our heels lifted off the mat. Stepping towards the top of our mat again, repeating everything again on the right side. Bringing blocks back to standing, coming onto our fingertips and straightening the back, and then lowering back down into our forward fold. Rolling through the spine back into standing, reaching our arms up to the sky with an inhale, bringing our hands to prayer position at our chest with an exhale. We're just going to come into our mountain pose. Just taking a moment here within our practice to feel the difference within our mind and within our body from when we first started and to now. Twisting our right block now to 90 degrees angle. Lifting up our right foot to place on the mat. Keeping our hands at our chest, coming back into a variation of our tree pose, either keeping hands at our chest or inhaling our arms up towards the sky, bringing them into prayer position. Exhale, lowering them back down to the chest. Bringing that right knee into our chest, grabbing with both hands and doing rolls to the left and to the right with the ankle. Mindfully lowering that right foot down to the mat, bringing our hands onto our blocks and lifting the leg to the back, coming into our warrior three. When you feel you've got your balance, lowering your right hand up to the sky, flexing the back foot and coming into our half moon. Keeping gaze on the mat or lifting your gaze up towards your top hand. Lowering the hand back to the block, squaring off your hips, bringing that right foot back onto the mat to meet your left. Lowering the blocks down, placing hands on top of the blocks and coming back into our plank pose. Just engaging the core and slowly lowering our knees back towards the mat and coming back into our Sphinx pose. Repositioning our arms now and placing our hands on top of one another, bringing our head down to the mat. Enjoying this moment of rest and peacefulness. Focusing on the breath, just inhaling and exhaling. Gently lifting up to our Sphinx pose again. Lifting up into our upward facing dog with an inhale. And on our next exhale, pushing ourselves for one more time into our puppy pose. Either keeping our elbows bent or reaching out into a full puppy pose. Untucking our toes and lifting up into another downward facing dog. Stepping through now to come into a seated position. Just finding yourselves to sit comfortably on your mat, bringing your knees into your chest and just gently lifting your feet off the mat into a boat pose, either staying where I am or extending your legs to a 90 degrees angle. Gently placing your feet back onto your mat, bring your hands behind you and just opening up the back, lifting your head towards the sky. Lifting back up, now grabbing onto your right ankle and placing it over your left leg, just below the knee, coming into a figure 4. And just opening the chest again with the hands behind your back, keeping your right foot flexed in order to protect our knee. Lowering the right foot back down to the mat, gently lifting now the left leg, placing it over the right leg, just below the knee, coming into our figure 4 on our other side, making sure to keep that foot flexed in order to protect our knee. Lowering the foot back down to the mat and slowly at your own pace, lowering down to place your back onto the mat, bringing both knees into our chest and bringing our head towards our knees and just taking some rolls side to side just to stretch out the back. Then lowering finally into our Shavasana. Legs stretched out, allowing your feet to fall to whichever direction they choose. Either placing your head onto a block if needed, and then just fully relaxing, palms facing up towards the sky, fingers relaxed, toes relaxed, jaw relaxed, lips relaxed, eyelids relaxed, and just breathe naturally. Taking note of any differences you feel within your body after our yoga practice today, and thanking yourself for finding this time for your practice, and thanking your body for all it has done for you. starting to wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers. If you had your head placed on a block, remove this now and gently roll onto one side, coming into our fetal position. Just allowing the body to slowly wake up. When you're ready, opening up the eyes and pushing yourself, coming into a seated position. Taking a mudra with the hands now if you want. Thumb and index finger touch. And slowly placing them down onto your knees. Taking our chin mudra. This helps to improve concentration and help us manage stress and depression. It eases tension and brings calmness to the mind and helps to relax the body. Taking deep breaths now, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Bringing our breath back to our normal rhythm, keeping the eyes closed. Slowly lifting our hands up towards the sky with an inhale, and exhale, bringing our hands down towards our chest. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Bring our hands up towards the sky with an inhale, with an exhale, bring them down towards the chest. You should be so proud of yourself for what you have done and what you have achieved today. May the rest of your day be just as blessed as you are. May the divine light within me bow to the divine light within you. Namaste.